October 2012, George Lucas signs over the rights to Lucasfilm to Disney.
The Walt Disney Company is acquiring Lucasfilm, the global entertainment company founded by George Lucas and the home of the legendary Star Wars franchise.
And that's the day that many people say Star Wars died. Today, I want to give you my perspective of what it would be like if I ran Lucasfilm, if I was in charge of all of it. What would I do? My main focus is going to be talking about Star Wars because I believe how Star Wars goes, the rest of Lucasfilm follows. Now, in case you forgot, because you might not remember or you might not know, that Lucasfilm and what George Lucas has created really set the stage for all of cinema that we see today.
Hi, I'm Samuel L. Jackson. Many of cinema's most memorable moments have been created here at Industrial Light and Magic. Tonight, we'll take you behind the scenes at ILM so you can see how these groundbreaking artists create their incredible illusions.
Creating projects like Star Wars opened the doors to so many different things. Without ILM, we wouldn't have anything from the MCU. We wouldn't have projects like Jurassic Park. We wouldn't have so many different things without the ingenuity and the creativity of George Lucas, Lucasfilm, and ILM. So how can we bring back the greatness that was in the early years of Lucasfilm? The first step is to be more selective. Every idea isn't a good idea.
It's the prequel to The Sixth Sense. The fifth sense, the sense of smell. Imagine a super ripped, super smart scientist in a mesh tank top named Dr. Dolph Lundgren.
We wouldn't just start throwing shows and movies and experiences and animated shows and video games and flooding the market with all of this mediocre crap. The real problem that we have to address, and I would address right from the beginning, is only the best of the best.
That's a 10.
Of the best of ideas even deserve consideration. And even then, we have to weed out what is actually good, and it would mean a lot less quantity, but a lot higher quality. To put it this way, I would be as picky as a pretty girl on Bumble. I would not be accepting every single guy that kind of looked good, but didn't really match up with every single quality I was looking for. That's how picky we need to be. That's how picky Lucasfilm has to be. Instead of falling in love with every little project here or there that they think can make money, that we think can do something in the streaming market to keep people plugged into Disney Plus or show up at the theaters, we would focus on only the best of the best. And so yes, that means less, but better. And personally, this means, I think, focusing first on the next great idea that is far away from any of the current projects that have been made. This means nothing near the sequel trilogy, nothing near any of the shows that have come out. So it might mean going all the way back to something like Knights of the Old Republic and taking something from that time frame and running with it and creating something that is amazing and good and epic around awesome ideas and great storytelling, and focusing all of our creative efforts in one direction. So what does that actually mean? That means focusing on the longer, not the shorter. This means focusing on the films and not necessarily the TV shows. But if we're going to do TV shows, they're going to be longer episodes, more epic, more lore building, more creativity packed in, more story building, more character driven type things, as opposed to the short, snippy, quick little episodic shows that we've been getting. What is Star Wars after all? It really grew because of the films, the movies. That's what really Star Wars is. So I would move away from the 30 to 40 minute runtime type shows, because what we've seen is really, this takes a creator or a director or a writer to they're saying write basically a movie and then chop it up into 8 episodes. That's a horrible way to write a movie or a story, to think, hey, I got to cram something in here to make this an episode and give it 8 different cliffhangers, instead of something that might build and go in and out and weave around. Because when people sit down for a movie, your attention is not divided. You don't have to hook them again at the beginning of everything and hook them again at the end of everything. And it really causes problems for good writing. So what does that mean? If we're focusing on the longer, not the shorter, if we're focusing on the best ideas, not every idea, I am going to say every single thing that's in production, I would put a pause on. Maybe not cancel, but it would all be stamped, frozen in time. We are not moving forward. We are reanalyzing everything. If this takes us 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, we're going to figure it out. That sounds crazy, I know, but this is what happens when something's on life support. You have to take drastic measures to make sure this thing stays alive. And make no mistake about it, Star Wars is in the ICU. Star Wars is failing. The heartbeat is low. The fans are disengaging. Disney doesn't want you to believe that. Disney wants you to believe that they've created a new fan base in their own image. And that's what they're trying to do, is to recreate a very specific fan base that only likes the current era stuff. But that's not Star Wars, especially when you're going to say things like Star Wars is for everyone. No, it's not. Star Wars isn't for everyone. Star Wars, your version of Star Wars right now, Lucasfilm, is only for those who like the things that you've made since the sequel trilogy on. When you put things out like Boba Fett and it's nothing like the character of Boba Fett, when you put things out like Obi-Wan and the whole show is more about Reva than it is about Obi-Wan and Vader, when you put things out like The Acolyte that you had said were going to go kind of investigate the story and the understanding, and it was going to be a show about the Sith, but instead it's just a show about how dumb the Jedi are. You're losing fans. You're not gaining fans. So things have to change. I would reset the timeline of what we're making. This doesn't mean deleting the sequels. This doesn't mean overwriting and deleting the original trilogy or the prequels. No, all of that is set. We're going to leave that. So we're going to reset a timeline in a different place. That will give you a little bit of freedom to create, a little bit of freedom to understand how to build something that is awesome and amazing. There's so many stories that can be told in those eras, but it brings an issue. What do we do with the expanded universe when it starts to come closer to the Skywalker saga? How do we handle that? Can we do things like Heir to the Empire still in this current Star Wars universe? I would love to see Heir to the Empire turned into films, but that is a project that has to be so far down the line, because until we can prove great storytelling, great writing, great cinematography, great choreography, great everything can be made again through Lucasfilm under the Disney umbrella, it doesn't matter what we do. It doesn't matter. You can recast and do whatever you want with the original trilogy characters. It's not going to matter. People are already checked out and they're not coming back. And we're seeing this done poorly in The Acolyte. Many of us have talked about the problematic nature of that show and the issues it's bringing up that are causing fans to disengage. So let's get further away from all of those things so we're not bumping into the prequels. We're not bumping into the original trilogy. We're not taking characters like Luke, Leia, and Han and just making them old curmudgeons and killing them off because we don't want to actually show what we said we would show when The Force Awakens came out, and we just want to do our own thing, so we need to kill the past. I don't want to kill the past. The past can't die. It's alive. That exists, and that is Star Wars. So let's move far away from it. So how do we go about this? 2 ways: accountability and advisors. That's the focus of what I would start to bring in. I would bring in a team of people like Favreau, people like Sam Witwer, people not like Dave Filoni. Let me explain. I don't know if you saw recently on my channel, I put out a video of my frustrations with Dave Filoni, and particularly my frustrations with Dave Filoni around The Acolyte, for which he's the chief creative officer, and this is what we've created. I'm going to create a board of advisors that is actually going to understand the fandom, understand the lore, understand what Star Wars is, and be the advisors to scripts, to projects, to ideas. They're the ones that are going to sift through these ideas and come with only the best of the best. They will get final say on what projects move forward, not Kathleen Kennedy, not some bigwig sitting in a office who's only worried about the bottom line. The only way for this to work, and it may be unrealistic, but the only way for this to work is to give creative power to a group like that. So that means listening to the fandom, but not catering to the fandom. And to give you an example of why I think this is important, just look at Mr. Beast. Whether or not you know who Mr. Beast is, many of you probably do, and probably some of you are subscribed to him. Mr. Beast is one of the biggest creators in the world on YouTube, and he produces huge, gigantic, massive challenge videos and all kinds of other videos that cost millions of dollars to make, and millions upon millions upon millions of people watch his videos, consume his content, buy his candy bars, subscribe to his services. Why? Because he knows what his audience wants. He researches, takes time, he investigates, he looks around and sees what's working in other genres, in other types of media, and says, hey, how can I incorporate how that worked into my ideas? And he comes up with original ideas and breaks the internet with videos that he thinks will engage people, because he's a salesman at heart. He's really trying to find what people love and then go with that. We have to get back to that. And we have to stay true to what Star Wars is. And the only way to do that is a board of advisors. I haven't built out the other names. I'd be taking applications. I'd be looking at seeing who would fit those criteria, who would help us understand the fandom. But I'll tell you this, right from the get-go, I would not be blaming the fans for anything. There's going to be haters all the time. There's going to be people that love and hate what Disney makes, what Lucasfilm creates, and I'm going to tune that out. I want to know what the fan base desires. I have an idea of what that is, but I want to hear from more, because I would want the next thing that gets made by Lucasfilm to be the thing that every Star Wars fan, I think this is possible. I think it's possible that every Star Wars fan looks at and goes, that looks amazing. I need to watch that. And the only way that's going to happen, we focus on not every idea is a good idea. Longer versus shorter. We're going to reset the timeline in a different era and bring about a board and accountability. And the accountability means when something fails, people are held accountable. It's not just oh, well, let's go on to the next thing. We sit down, we figure out what went wrong. Why did it fail? We listen to the fan base, we listen to what's being said, and we take that critique and criticism and say, are there points here that could have been made better? How could we improve? And ultimately, we make the changes needed. And if that's personnel, that's personnel. And if that's projects canceled and we don't move forward with it, even though we've invested time and money, then we stop those projects. There is right now zero accountability in Lucasfilm. It doesn't matter what gets made or how good or how crap it is. You get your movie and you get to go ahead with it no matter the cost. I don't know. What do you think? What did I miss? What would you change if you had the supreme power and authority at Lucasfilm? What would you do? Would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Guys, thanks for watching as this Star Wars fan in his basement just rambles a little bit about what I think could happen to make Star Wars great again. Thanks for watching. If you like content like this, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you on the next one.